Once more under the breach, dear Netrunner fans. We're bringing you more highlights of the top 8 of the Cardiff regionals held at Firestorm Games on the 10th of May 2014. On your left-hand side, you'll see Neil, who, as we know, won his last game and went into the winner's bracket. And on the right, we have our very own Dave Hoyland playing Andromeda. Also, from a previous cast, managed to claw his way back onto the top table. So, again, this is a very, he's just showing us his opening hand there, which he's mulliganing, unsurprisingly, hence the reason why he's showing it. But Triple Desperado, not necessarily the strongest opening players at T, but he's going to give that a quick shuffle, I would suggest. Looks like Neil's keeping his hand. So again, those of you who have watched the previous casts will know that Neil's running a fairly straightforward fast advanced deck. He's going to play a hedge fund and going to double ice while he's waiting there for Dave to shuffle his deck and to continue on. This is effectively going to be the third place playoff, I believe. The winner of this will go on to face Tim, and the loser of this will drop out and finish in third place. So whoever wins this will go on to a final, so to speak, which we'll be bringing you after this shortly. So, having already made his move, it looks like Dave is up. It looks like he does have a Desperado in hand, as well as a couple of fairies, maybe even a Plascrete. He's going to shore gamble first of all, which you can never really argue with. And then he's going to play his Desperado. Play daily casts. A little bit of glare on that, but you can just about make out it being a daily cast. So he's got one click left. It looks like he's got a Data Sucker in hand as well there. And is he going to make him res ice? No, he's going to play his Data Sucker, so he's all set up and ready to go. It's a pretty good opening Andy hand, let's be honest, ladies and gentlemen. Sure gamble, Desperado, Data Sucker, and daily casts. That's the dream. So let's see how Neil responds. He's got plenty of cash already, set on 9, without being forced to res any ice. He's going to install res and use Jackson Howard for those first 2 clicks. And if he goes again, you kind of got to feel that's probably an agenda flood situation. He's not. He's actually going to ice up archives, which is interesting. And he's looking, I think, maybe there to does he have to discard? Probably not. I think he's just about right. Dave, in return and reply, will play a fairy, and he's going to have a look at HQ. First click, second click, sorry. He's going to see a wraparound. He's going to bounce off, obviously. He hasn't have a barrier breaker. He's going to see a pop-up window on R&D, which will pay 1 and access, getting it back obviously with Desperado immediately anyway. And he will score an Astro, and that is absolutely the dream there. You're paying 1 credit, well, not even paying a credit, but get to see an Astro script. Happy days. He's going to go again, and he's hoping to get a little bit lucky here. Doesn't. It sees, I think, what looks like a Draco there, but I could be wrong. I don't think Neil's given himself the money for the pop-up window there, but maybe he'll correct that later. It looks like he's still 2 credits shy of what he needs. Anyway, first click is going to draw 2 of Jackson. And all Dave now needs is a Corroder at this stage, and all servers will be vulnerable, so to speak. And this is part of the problem of running a very porous and cheap and rush ice, is that you have to fight off the early game aggression from criminals, especially. And you know, pop-up window may give you a little bit of an advantage, and it might tax ever so slightly, but not when you've got a criminal runner with Desperado and Data Sucker out. You're just not even really buying yourself time there, you're just giving yourself a little bit of extra cash. Neil looks like he's chowing down there on a lovely burger there from Burger King, just for those of you who are unaware. Yeah, it's been a long day, and the chaps are surprisingly a little bit hungry. He's going to run through on HQ after playing a Corroder and score a breaking news. He's going to go again, and he'll see a fast track. Another card from the new Honor and Profit Deluxe box. So the pressure really on here for Neil. He now has to kind of secure HQ for fear of account siphon death, and oh, in fact, he's going to biotic out a Beal and pass the turn over. That costs him 7. That's not an inconsiderable amount of money. So it'd be fascinating to see what how Dave punishes him here, but suddenly with 2 points to 3, I'm not fancying Neil's chances of being able to salvage anything here. Not with the wraparound and pop-up window on a central service anyway. We're not sure what's there on archives, but I'm not sure if that necessarily was the best ice placement. Probably would have been stronger elsewhere. Maybe he was concerned about security testing. Not sure. He's going to run archives. which... does he even have any face-down cards? I'm not sure, but he raises a Quandary, regardless, and bounces. I don't even know if he's got any face-down cards there. I'm not sure necessarily whether that was the right play. Maybe he's concerned... Maybe, I don't know, we don't know what top piece of ice is on R&D, I suppose, but looking to deny him data sucker credits, maybe at the very least. He's going to draw and play a short gamble and pass the 10. And there, like I say, Neil really is up against it. He's got to secure a central service here, especially HQ, but he's sat on a whole 1 credit, so he needs to get his economy back up to scratch. With 3 points, he could afford to drop one more agenda before he's in real trouble. But I think his mind may be on the burger. And to be fair, who could possibly blame him? Looks like a very fine burger indeed. This is the problem of also having the players quite far back from the board, is that you can't actually see what they're thinking or doing or looking at in their hands. It may be that I'm just concerned the video's frozen, but it looks like we're alright. So I'm pretty sure we're with Neil here. I'm pretty sure we are. I'm not sure what he's considering here. But depending on what he has in hand, he probably doesn't have a huge amount of choices here but to take some cash, really, I would imagine. Certainly not in a position to be able to play or use any sounds at this stage. And then we have Jackson Howard to accelerate his deck, which he will use. I guess he's got to be digging for economy cards here, and a sweep sweep would probably be ideal. He's on 1 card of credit, and that'll be enough to capitalise on. I don't think Dave is got 5 cards in hand. I think he might have 4, possibly 5. He's going to take a credit. Second click. I still kind of feel that Quandary may have been better on HQ rather than Archives. Maybe concerned about the sneak door beta. It's a possibility, and I know Dave is running them in his deck. And in fact, while there's a bit of a lull in play, he's looking like he's discarding cards now after taking another credit. There was a little bit of lull in play. Just to mention that we will have a couple of we've got a couple of tournament reports by Dave Hoyland up on the site for you to look. By the time hopefully you get round to finish watching this, maybe tomorrow, hopefully we'll have his regional report of this tournament up for you to have a look at, including deck lists and other insightful analysis. So please do have a look. He's going to run HQ and see a toll booth, gaining his Desperado, his Data Sucker, having paid 1 to get through the wraparound with Corroder. He's going to go again and see another toll booth, or maybe the same one. There's no way of knowing. But these are, these easy accesses are definitely going to be a problem. And there he goes, scores the Beal, takes him to 5 points to match point, and he'll draw last click and discard a Plascrete, because I don't think he's too worried about the Scorched Earth at this stage. He has no tags either. Hasn't had to use an account siphon at all here. Just putting a lot of central pressure on. And I do feel that this is part of the problem here with MBN. Once they get going, they're impossible to stop, but if they don't secure their centrals and secure that early Astro, they're in a whole heap of trouble. Anyway, he's got a double sweep sweep installed piece of ice, so he did have a couple of sweep sweeps in hand, and he's looking much better financially now. That's probably, let's be honest, a toll booth on HQ. So Dave's now using special order, and he's going to fetch a Yogg rather than a Fem. Maybe Neil's baiting him into trying to fem that face-down piece of ice. Either way, he's got enough data suckers to get through the toll booth, but he will still have to pay 3 on encounter. But then 3 credits to get through a toll booth is not the end of the world. And at the very least, it does mean he's going to make him res it. 8 credits to 3, that's a reasonable sacrifice, even if it's going to cost him a couple of data sucker tokens. He's going to run out R&D first of all and see a double pop-up window. So it's going to cost him, it's not going to cost him anything to get through because he's got a Yogg, but Neil nevertheless will still gain the credits. And he's then going to Dirty Laundry into Archives. Yep. And I think he's going to, no, he's not going to use his Crackus Jackson, he's going to just show him another Jackson Howard. So he's just working out how much money here he gets for getting into Archives, and he's going to pass the turnover. And again, I think he's got to assume that that's probably a Fem there on top of HQ. I'd be tempted to make him res it, but though he's got no face-down remote, so there's no immediate rush. There's certainly no chance of him scoring out the Astro script here with the res Sand, so he can afford to take his time on 5 points to 2. There's certainly no rush. He's in a good financial position. He's got a great board position established. He can afford to wait. Neil can't though. His burger's getting cold. So I think he just took some money and he passed the turn. He's going to run R&D and see something. Not quite sure what that was there. Oh, I think it's a Sansan. And he's just going to trash that for 5. Gaining his data circuit and his Desperado credit. Going to go again. And he'll score a breaking news, taking him to 6 points. So not game, but he'll go again and see a hedge fund. So, you know, he's on 1 point away, definitely match point now. And again, obviously, because he can break through the pop-up windows for free, he's gaining a credit and a Desperado token every time he runs, getting a lot of value out of these runs now. And it's going to be difficult here for Neil to claw his way back from the R&D lock, if nothing else. The hedge fund isn't going to do a great deal of good for him. I think he's going to run HQ here, he's not going to res, and so he will pay 1 and break, and he will access a fast track, which I can't see Neil using at this stage in the game. At least not until he gets a res Sansan up, which he does have the money to do now at the very least, so it's whether it can keep it protected and keep it off the board. There is no piece of ice that will do that for him at the moment. It's just purely an economic battle, and there's very little taxation on the board now, and he's got a Yogg out. So he's going to draw aggressively with Jackson by the looks of it. And he will install. And there's no reason there for Dave not to go ahead and check that remote. You know, what's the worst that can happen, really? He's going to discard a whole bunch of cards. Probably an agenda, if we're going to be realistic. He's going to run R&D. He's going to see an NEPD contract. That is the game. And again, there's no surprises there, really. It was very fast and furious, and Dave had an incredibly dominant board position. So thanks for watching. We're now going to go on to the final, which will be Tim versus Dave Hoyland. Please feel free to join us there. I should be bringing you that cast shortly. In the meantime, do feel free to check out Netrunners.co.uk for forums, articles, and just, well, me, generally. See you there.